Hey there! You are on the Fall Asleep with Marco channel. Before we continue our nighttime journey, I'm really curious. Where are you watching this from? Just write the name of your city or country in the comments. This will really help the channel grow. Thank you, and we go on. Today we are going to places where the line between the world of humans and the world of wild nature isn't just thin, it's sometimes erased in a bloody haze. We'll talk about something ancient, primal, about a fear that lives in human memory at a genetic level, the fear of being eaten by a big cat. India. Not the India of palaces and colorful festivals, but another, forested, swampy, the one that hides at the foothills of the Himalayas and in the deltas of the Sundarbans mangroves. Here, for centuries, one of the most dramatic and tragic chapters in the history of human-predator relations has been unfolding. The chapter on man-eating tigers. Why India? What in the nature of the tiger makes it the perfect, absolute predator and sometimes a methodical hunter of humans? And the most important question, perhaps, who is the aggressor here? The one protecting its forests, or the one who came to these forests to live? Let's not start with scary stories, but with the main character himself. And he is, without a doubt, a hero, the Bengal tiger. Try to imagine him not as a monster from stories, but as a work of evolutionary art. Imagine the strength. One paw strike can break a buffalo's spine. Speed. From a standstill to 60 kilometers per hour in a few seconds. Coloration. Those stripes aren't just decoration, they are perfect camouflage. In tall grass and under the shade of trees, the tiger dissolves. He can be 3 meters away from you and you won't see him. And one more key element, intelligence. A tiger isn't just a killing machine. He thinks, analyzes, remembers. He studies his prey's habits, picks the perfect position for an attack. His brain is wired for efficient hunting. Now imagine that the object of this hunt becomes the weakest, yet most dangerous creature in the jungle, man. How does this happen? Why does a tiger suddenly start seeing us as a prey? There is no single simple answer. Most often, it's a chain of tragic accidents. A wounded tiger that can't hunt swift game starts looking for an easy target. An old tiger, whose fangs have fallen out, whose muscles have weakened. He can't take down a sturdy boar, but a human walks upright. He is slower. He doesn't have thick skin. And sometimes we are to blame. Deforestation, field expansion, building villages right next to sanctuaries. The tiger's prey disappears. His territory is fragmented by roads and crops. And right nearby, literally a step away, people walk. People who go into the forest for firewood, collect honey, fish. They become part of his food landscape. First, an accidental encounter, then an accidental killing in self-defense, and then the tiger makes a discovery. This meat is soft, and getting it isn't that hard. And here it is, the turning point in the beast's life. He stops being afraid. The smell of man, his sight, the sound of his voice, no longer a signal of danger, but a signal for food. The tiger becomes a man-eater. Not all attacks are for food. May 2021. Tadoba National Park, Maharashtra. A young tourist photographer, breaking the rules and getting out of his vehicle in an authorized area, encountered a tigress with her cubs on a trail. The distance was about 15 meters, The tigress attacked in a flash, delivering several crushing blows with her paws to his head and chest, tore his clothes, but didn't bite him fatally and didn't try to drag him away. After the man stopped moving, she returned to her cubs and led them into the thicket. The man survived, sustaining severe injuries. This case is a prime illustration of a warning or punitive attack. The goal was not food, but the elimination of a threat, real or perceived, to her offspring. A tiger can simply mark a human as a danger without becoming a man-eater. But there is a place where this whole tiger story takes on completely mythical, frightening proportions. The Sundarbans, mangrove forests on the border of India and Bangladesh, a labyrinth of islands, channels, muddy banks, and salt water. Here, man is not the master, but an unwelcome guest. And the Sundarbans tiger, well, he is just special. Imagine you are a fisherman. You sail in a boat along a narrow channel. The water is murky. Visibility is a couple of meters. Mangrove roots descend from the banks like tentacles. Perfect cover. Sundarban tigers are the only ones in the world who swim perfectly and for whom water is a native element. They can swim kilometers between islands. They often attack from behind, from the back, from a boat, silently emerging from the murky water. Here, there are even local rules. Fishermen and honey collectors, before landing on an island, pray to a special goddess, Ban Bibi, protector from tigers. They wear a mask on the back of their heads, an old simple trick. The tiger often attacks from behind, so a mask with a painted face confuses him. It seems the person is looking both ways. Does it work? Well, who knows. But in the Sundarbans, they cling to any chance to survive. Because a man-eating tiger from the Sundarbans is not just a predator, it's almost a force of nature, inevitable, faceless, like a hurricane or a tidal wave. February 2013. The Indian part of the Sundarbans, West Bengal. A group of 5 fishermen spent the night in their boat in the shallows near a mangrove island. During the night, in complete darkness, an adult male tiger swam up to the boat. Silently emerging, with one blow of its paw, it knocked one of the fishermen overboard, seized him in its jaws, and disappeared into the murky water. The body was found the next day on a sandbank 200 meters from the attack site. This is a classic Sundarbans attack, the use of water as a means of stealthy approach, absolute suddenness, and the clear selection of a single victim from the group. The Sundarbans tiger doesn't attack everyone, it chooses its target. Now, let's move in time. The late 19th, early 20th century. British India. The colonial administration faces a problem that can be solved by decrees. Entire districts are paralyzed by fear. People are afraid to go out into the fields. Children don't go to school. Rumors spread about forest spirits, demons in the form of a tiger. And then they appear, the hunters of man-eaters. Their names became legends. Jim Corbett, Kenneth Anderson. But Corbett is a special chapter. He wasn't a bloodthirsty safari goer. He was a subtle expert on the jungle. He respected the tiger. He saw in a man-eater not an evil monster, but a tragic creature, broken by circumstances, often by a poacher's bullet or a spiked trap. Corbett left us amazing memoirs. Listen to how he describes hunting the Champawat man-eater, a tigress who by various estimates killed over 400 people in the Himalayan region. It wasn't a hunt, it was a duel of minds. The tigress was terrifyingly smart. She avoided traps, sensed ambushes, changed routes. She turned the life of an entire region into hell. And when Corbett finally tracked her down, he found an old tigress suffering from pain with broken fangs. She became a man-eater not out of malice, but out of desperation. Here is the main paradox. To save people, they had to kill the tiger. But by killing the man-eating tiger, hunters like Corbett also saved the reputation of the entire species. They showed that man-eating is an anomaly, a sickness, not the norm. They prevented mass raids that could have destroyed hundreds of innocent animals. The stories Corbett wrote about aren't fiction. They are recorded in archives and police reports. Let's travel back to those times through a few specific dates and figures to grasp the scale. March 1926. The vicinity of Champawat town. A hunter set up in a blind with bait, a kid goat. A tigress came, but she didn't immediately rush at the bait. She circled around and approached the blind from behind. She crept up on the hunter and killed him. Only then did she return to the kid. This incident isn't directly related to the Champawat man-eater, but it perfectly illustrates the intelligence and tactics of the beast. It first neutralizes the greatest threat, the human with the gun. This is not mere animal instinct, this is calculation. But times have changed. Lone hunters were replaced by state programs. Today, India has the world's largest tiger population, and that's a huge conservation success. The tiger is a national treasure. They are protected, monitored with camera traps, GPS collars. It would seem the story of man-eaters should be a thing of the past, but the conflict hasn't gone anywhere. It has simply changed form. Population pressure is immense. Villages still border sanctuaries, and tigers, especially young, dispersing males, come out to people. They take livestock, and sometimes tragedy strikes. How do they deal with it today? In different ways. They create buffer zones, build tiger-proof fences where possible, compensate farmers for lost livestock so they don't feel the need for revenge. There are teams for scaring them off. Noise, light, rubber bullets to return a problem tiger to the forest without killing it. And still, every year, dozens of fatal attacks are recorded. Most often, not from man-eaters in the classic sense, but from tigers cornered, protecting their kill or cubs, or simply from a sudden encounter on a narrow path. You are probably wondering, how does it happen? What does a person feel in that very moment? Is it a quick death or a long agony? Let's try to reconstruct the picture based on hunters' reports, survivors' testimonies, and, as grim as it is, studies of victims' remains. A tiger is not a sadist. He is an efficient killing machine. His goal is to immobilize and kill the prey as quickly as possible, minimizing the risk of injury to himself. With a human, he acts on the same principles as with a deer or a boar, but with adjustments for our anatomy. Most often, the attack is from behind and the side. The tiger sneaks up close, using any cover. His striped coat in the dappled forest shadow makes him literally invisible. He can lie motionless 5 meters from the path, and you will walk right past. The decision to attack is made in fractions of a second. The first strike is crushing. Usually it's a paw strike to the shoulder or head to knock the victim down and stun them. A tiger's claws aren't just sharp knives. Each is as long as your finger. They tear muscles, break bones. If the blow lands on the head or neck, loss of consciousness can be instant. But the main weapon is the bite. A tiger almost never strangles its prey, like a leopard does by grabbing the throat. His goal is to bite through, to break. Most often he drives his fangs into the neck, aiming to crush the cervical vertebrae and sever the spinal cord. In this case, death occurs in seconds. The brain shuts off instantly. Another favorite method is a bite at the base of the skull, right in the back of the head. His fangs are long enough to reach the brainstem. This is also almost instant death. Now, imagine the strength of his jaws. He can crush your thigh bone with one bite, like a dry twig. To drag a buffalo carcass weighing half a ton through thick undergrowth. So the answer to, is it quick? Most often, yeah, if the attack is precise. The victim doesn't have time to understand what's happening. One moment you're walking on a path, hearing birds, thinking your thoughts. The next moment, either darkness or a shock wave of unbelievable pain that almost instantly fades. But not always. Sometimes the first strike isn't fatal. The tiger might grab a person by the shoulder, by the leg, then a struggle begins. The outcome is predetermined, but it's minutes of unimaginable horror. The tiger drags the prey to cover. His strength is such that he can carry a grown man, not dragging him on the ground, but practically carrying him in his mouth. That's why, in areas with tigers, people walk in groups and almost never bend over. A standing figure looks larger and can scare the beast away. But a person bent over for firewood, in size and posture, he already resembles regular prey. This knowledge isn't to scare you. It's needed to understand the absolute, ruthless efficiency of this predator. He doesn't play with his prey, he eliminates it. It's the cold calculus of evolution, brought to perfection. And so we come to the most difficult question. Who is right in this age-old conflict? You might say, people have a right to safety, to a life without fear. And you would be absolutely right. And I could say, the tiger was here first. He is the pinnacle of this ecosystem. His presence means healthy forests, full of life. And I would also be right. The truth, as always, lies somewhere in between, in a cruel equation where on one side is human life, and on the other, the life of a species on the brink of extinction. Ultimately, the story of man-eaten tigers in India isn't a horror story. It's a story of the collision of two worlds. It's a reminder that we, with all our technological power, are still part of nature, and that nature has its own ancient laws and its own ruthless executors of our weakness. The next time you see a photo of a magnificent Bengal tiger, remember this duality, the shining beauty and the absolute primal power, the animal that can be both worshipped and feared to the core. that is both a symbol of wild nature needing protection and a potential neighbor, an encounter with whom could be the last. This story isn't over. It's being written right now, in the jungles of India, and its ending depends on whether we find the wisdom not just to survive next to such a neighbor, but to respect its right to exist. Thanks for being with me on this journey. Sweet dreams. Until next time.